My dear friends, I come before you today with a message that rests heavily upon my heart, a message of truth and a message of urgency. We are facing a battle that is not fought with flesh and blood, but one of spirits and unseen forces that move within the shadows. These forces are relentlessly at work, tearing apart the very fabric of our lives, shattering families, breaking the sacred bonds of friendship, and poisoning the hearts of the people we hold most dear. Perhaps you have felt its chilling presence already. You may have seen it in a friend who was once a beacon of light, now walking shrouded in darkness. You might have witnessed it in a family member whose once unconditional love has turned inexplicably cold, whose innate kindness has been replaced by a biting cruelty, and whose faith has been methodically drowned in a sea of deception. You are left standing in the wake of this change, wondering to yourself what could have possibly happened. Why are they acting this way? Is this merely a phase, a product of life's difficult circumstances, or is there a deeper, more troubling force at play? The truth is, the adversary does not appear with horns and a pitchfork. He moves in whispers, in subtle manipulations, and in the unseen chains that bind the hearts of those around us. He thrives on deception, on division, and on doubt. If we fail to recognize his schemes, we risk becoming blind to the very forces that seek to dismantle our world from the inside out. Today, I want to help you open your eyes, to learn how to discern the spirit behind the words, the true motives behind the actions, and the hidden war raging behind the once familiar smiles. It is not enough to see with the eyes of the flesh. We must learn to see with the eyes of the spirit. Listen carefully, for what I'm about to share could be the key to saving your relationships, your faith, and perhaps even your very soul. There eventually comes a moment when you look at someone you love, a cherished friend, a close family member, a person you have walked alongside for years, and a chilling realization dawns on you. Something is profoundly different. The warmth that once radiated from their eyes has dimmed, replaced by a vacant coldness. Their words, once a source of kindness and truth, now carry a sharp, bitter edge that was never there before. The values they once championed, such as morality, honesty, and integrity, seem to have vanished, fading into an unrecognizable version of their former self. This, my friends, is one of a dangerous shift in their fundamental character and morality. The enemy is subtle and endlessly patient, planting small, insidious seeds of compromise that appear insignificant at first. It may begin with them excusing small sins or justifying actions they once condemned. Soon, they start to entertain darkness, dipping their toes into behaviors they once spoke vehemently against. It is a slow, creeping poison that numbs the conscience over time. And the most treacherous part of this transformation is that it is often disguised as freedom or self-discovery. The enemy whispers that they are simply finding themselves or breaking free from old limitations. In reality, they are walking willingly into invisible chains that tighten around their soul with each step, making it progressively harder for them to ever turn back. One of the most destructive tools used to weaken us is the cultivation of division and strife, a weapon that has been wielded since the very beginning to whisper lies, sow discord, and turn hearts against one another. If you wish to identify where these dark influences are at work, look for the unmistakable signs of constant conflict and broken relationships. You may observe this in a friend who once brought peace to every room, but now seems to thrive on stirring up drama and conflict, their words now aimed to wound rather than to heal. This spirit works through accusation, subtly at first, then becoming more aggressive, convincing people to see the absolute worst in each other and to cling tightly to past hurts. They built walls where bridges once stood, and you will hear them planting seeds of doubt and mistrust with phrases designed to poison minds against one another. The adversary knows that a house divided against itself cannot stand. Once this division takes root, it invites chaos and bitterness. Those under its influence rarely see their role in the destruction. They believe they are justified in their anger, blinded to the fact that their own actions are fueling the flames. As a person allows these negative influences to take hold, you will notice an unexplainable and often aggressive hatred for truth. It is a deep-seated resistance, sometimes subtle and sometimes outright violent, against anything that carries the light of wisdom and righteousness. A person who once revered the word of God may now scoff at it. A heart that was once open to correction is now hardened and hostile toward anything that challenges their new way of thinking. This is more than a simple disagreement. It is a spiritual battle. When a person has allowed darkness to take root within them, the truth feels like a physical threat. The enemy works tirelessly to convince them that truth is the real enemy, filling their minds with lies that they are the masters of their own destiny and that sin has no consequences. This rejection of truth is invariably accompanied by a hardened heart where the conscience has been so thoroughly numbed that they no longer feel conviction for things that once would have deeply troubled them. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking transformations to witness is the slow, chilling erosion of a person's capacity for love and compassion. You can see it in their eyes and in the way they treat others. A cold indifference settles over them like a shroud. A person who was once filled with profound kindness now seems distant, apathetic, and emotionally hardened, their actions lacking any trace of genuine compassion. It feels as though an invisible wall stands between them and the rest of the world. This is not just a personality shift. It is a sign that the very essence of their spirit is fading. Love is what connects us to God and to each other, driving us to forgive, show mercy, and extend grace. When a person loses this, they begin to justify cruelty. This loss of compassion is often coupled with an overwhelming sense of pride, leading them to view others as beneath them and to treat people as disposable. Though they may appear strong on the outside, a person without love is a person in bondage, trapped in an emptiness that no amount of success, power, or pleasure can ever hope to fill. Ultimately, these changes culminate in a disturbing and ever-increasing attraction to darkness itself. This rarely happens overnight. It begins subtly, with small compromises and a growing fascination with things that glorify evil. Over time, what was once a mere curiosity evolves into a full embrace of darkness that changes not only what they do, but who they are at their core. Their interests shift from things that were uplifting and good to a preoccupation with the macabre, the twisted, and the disturbing. They may become obsessed with entertainment that celebrates chaos and wickedness, or develop a deep curiosity about occult practices. What starts as entertainment or curiosity becomes a new way of thinking. As their attraction to darkness intensifies, their heart transforms, and they begin to reject anything that is holy, righteous, and pure, mocking those who walk in the light. They are willingly opening spiritual doors that should remain sealed, allowing forces beyond their comprehension to take root in their lives. They may experience more anger, depression, and a restless emptiness that nothing can satisfy. Yet instead of turning back to the light, they dive deeper into the very things that are destroying them. My friends, the enemy is subtle, but the signs of his work are clear for those with eyes to see. He operates through deception, division, rebellion, and the slow decay of love and truth. If you recognize these patterns in someone you love, or even in yourself, do not turn a blind eye and hope they simply disappear. You are being called to stand in the gap, to recognize that this is a spiritual battle, and the only way to fight darkness is with the overwhelming power of light. Pray for them, stand firm in your own truth, and never stop believing that God's power is infinitely greater than any force of evil. No heart is too far gone, and no soul is beyond the reach of redemption. The moment we choose to turn back toward the light, God is there, waiting with open arms, ready to restore, to heal, and to bring the lost back home.